Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to another normal episode of the Essays and Espresso podcast. It's not a fucking award show. It's not a commentary. It's not a special spoiler cast. Nothing. It's just a fucking regular episode with a topic. Holy shit. How long has it been since we did one of these?
Not long enough.
Probably a month. Well, more than a month, because we haven't done anything in a month.
As a result, I have amassed too many topics, which has angered Acer and Boken to the point where they've ruined all of my topics, and now I don't know what I am and not supposed to talk about, so I'm just going to talk about whatever the fuck I want anyways, because fuck them. How is everyone doing?
Bogan, it's my understanding that Daniel is editing this one, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I have all the power.
All right, then.
That's right.
I guess nothing is stopping you from just talking about it later without us and then cutting it into the podcast.
Well, if you do that, then I don't care. I just don't want to sit here for 5 hours.
Me either.
I mean, I could do that, possibly, but I'm too lazy.
Do you want us to give you, like, generic reactions? Good one, Daniel. You can use those too.
Ha ha ha.
I could just, like, record those and then just, like, edit them in and just slot them in.
It'd
just
be
like the same canned reactions over and over again.
Or you could take words we say from some other conversation where it's like clearly there's a beginning and an end missing to some statement.
It just cuts itself off. I miss this. This is good. I like this. This is good shit. Or is it? I don't know.
What is the topic, you doofus?
Oh, what is the topic? It's if nostalgia is holding back the industry. This was brought to us by Boken, the ever staunch Boken, hater of everything fun. He has to shit on nostalgia too.
Don't get attached to anything. They're just gonna ruin it later, Boken.
That's me.
That's Boken.
Speaking from experience.
Boken, he wears this with pride. And speaking of which, Boken, I see that you only have a single topic, so let's get your one topic out of the way.
Oh, okay. I actually had two, but I decided last minute I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
The problem is that we've had 2 months to amass topics, and I've only played Final Fantasy. I don't know what to do. It's a real problem. No, but my actual topic is a game called Everhood.
So
which is...
I think I've seen that. It's like very Undertale inspired.
Yes, extremely. Just one of its main problems, honestly. Like it looks it looks a lot like Undertale. The subtext, or like what the game is going for, is a lot like Undertale. I guess the main difference is that, which is not even that much of a difference, and when you walk around and you talk to these people, and it's like the same style of text box where, you know, every character makes a different noise when the text is playing, like bap 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 bap.
Like
even down to those details.
Like that very Banjo-Kazooie, Phoenix Wright, that kind of thing.
I guess so, but it just...
What, have you not played those games?
No. I mean, I know what it's like in Banjo-Kazooie.
Hey, what would your noise be if you were in one of those games? I think I would go when my text was playing. What would your noise be?
That one?
I think that would be it. It would just be like,
Well, that's boring. What about you, Bogan?
See, but the thing is that in Undertale, that's like the noises aren't that sophisticated.
You can make them as sophisticated. It's a Banjo-Kazooie question, not an Undertale question.
But we're talking about Everhood, though. And Everhood is like Undertale.
What would your Banjo-Kazooie noise be?
I don't know. I haven't played Banjo-Kazooie.
You had no childhood.
No.
I haven't played
Banjo-Kazooie was so fucking good. I replayed the 360 version a few years back, and it was still good.
I love
I
how
was like,
Daniel's
"Damn."
talking about Banjo-Kazooie in the middle of Hogan's Everlast,
Everlast,
Everhood. Whatever.
Banjo-Kazooie is that good. It just overtakes Everhood because who gives a fuck, I guess. I'm sorry. I'm sure Everhood is a fine game. How is it? Is it a fine
It's
game?
okay.
It's.
I didn't end up liking it much. The main difference is that instead of having, your little heart in the shaped box and dodging bullets, you're basically playing a rhythm game, or you're pretending to playing a rhythm game where you have like 5 lines and then your enemy is dancing at you, and based on the music, the bullets that are coming at you change based on the music and the rhythm, and somewhat on the melody, but it's not really. I have to say the soundtrack is full of absolute bangers, which is probably the best aspect of this game.
Oh, okay. So far, you're making it sound pretty good.
See, the problem is that the music doesn't, because there's only 5 lanes, I guess, you can't really portray melodies accurately, like in terms of pitch. If you had like one, you're going from left are the low notes and right are the high notes, and you're trying to portray the bullets in a way that goes in chord with a melody that is being played at you, but it's not really like that. So the patterns are completely impossible to predict, even if you know the song. So at the end of the day, you're not really playing a rhythm game, you're just dodging shit. And there is not a lot of rhythm to it. And you see a bullet coming at you, you still have 1.5 seconds to dodge, basically. So you can react very quickly and don't really care about the music. Which is kind of a problem because the game looks like a rhythm game, but it's really not. And I found it kind of frustrating, given also that I have a music background, and I wanted it to be more like the music that is actually being played.
That's right. You're a keyboard player, right?
Yeah. And you could easily, given a couple more lanes, you could easily just be playing on a piano keyboard.
See, this makes recommending music to you frustrating, because if something doesn't have like a wanky keyboard solo, you're like, is this even real music?
I don't even need solos anymore, just the keyboard.
You just need a keyboard to be shoved into the song.
Yeah. I also get mad though when bands have keyboards, but they don't have a keyboard player. Like they're just doing them on a fucking Apple laptop or something and just adding them in post-production.
Isn't that just as good though?
Yeah, that's exactly as good. I bet that computer can play way better than me.
I mean, I'm frustrated that Haken downplayed keyboards so much that the keyboard player fucking left.
Yeah.
It's like, God damn it. I like Diego. He was good.
The creative differences of, I want to use my instrument. And the rest of the band is like, no! You shut
They're
the fuck up.
LOL. Laugh my fucking ass off.
Anyway, so, and then, you dodge the fucking bullets. The music is good. And then it adds some depth in the sense that you eventually get a parry. So you can just take bullets head on at that point, and you just need to parry them. And then you get a second parry where you need to parry 2 bullets of the same color, and then you can shoot them back. Because at that point, the story goes in a direction where you now need to fight the enemies actually, instead of just surviving their dance patterns. And so then you try to basically beat them by damaging them. And at that point, the game gets kind of frustrating because your bullets that you can shoot back can get absorbed by the bullets that are already on the field. So you just keep, charging your parry, and then you want to shoot, and then just some fucking bullet spawned on that line, and your damage doesn't go through. And then I had a couple of moments where the fucking music ended and the fight was over, and I didn't actually beat the opponent, and I had to go again. I survived too hard, but I didn't actually do enough damage, so now I have to go again. And it got really annoying. I don't know. It's just like, it's very difficult to predict the patterns based on the music, so you just shoot your bullet and then you pray that it goes through. Yeah. Wasn't a fan. And then what really bothered me was just, the problem that it's like Undertale, and it goes for that same kind of meta fourth wall breaking storyline that is very, very similar, even in terms of having a normal playthrough and a pacifist playthrough and a genocide playthrough. Like, even to those details, it's basically the same. Yeah, I guess it's an homage, but it was cool when Undertale did it. But it can't be cool ever since, because it's just like, in Undertale you didn't expect it for the story to go that way, and in Everhood I just roll my fucking eyes when the game is hinting like, maybe something greater is going on than what you know. Ooh, I wonder what's that's gonna be, and then
it would have actually been more subversive if it wasn't what you thought it was. It was more straightforward, actually more subversive.
But the story on its own and the characters just aren't good enough to carry that story on its own. Which in Undertale they were. Like, even if you didn't have the fourth wall breaking at the end, it still would have been a satisfying story.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like Undertale would still be really good even if it didn't have the meta stuff, because the characters are still really charming, and the stuff that goes on in the story outside of the meta stuff is still good, and you're still invested.
Yeah.
And it seems like Everhood is just like the copy homework version of Undertale.
I guess so. I think the music is really good, and also what the game has, which it also was kind of recommended to me on that level, is that it genuinely feels like a fucking drug trip, because it's actually kind of crazy, like in terms of perspective and colors and just spectacle that it's going for. So if you just want to feel like what it's like in the mind of a tripped out game designer, I guess this is your chance.
I see.
Yeah, but it also that got kind of annoying in terms of gameplay, because then it starts fucking with your perspective, and suddenly the bullets are coming at you at a different speed, or just like it plays with the space that is between you and where the bullets spawn, and suddenly it gets very difficult to actually dodge something. It felt like the game was griefing me at some points. So yeah, all in all, I guess it's kind of worth playing. It isn't very long, but I just rolled my eyes.
You beat the whole thing?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Although I guess there are a bunch of secret bosses that I didn't even go for, because I just wanted it to be over at the end. Because I was so detached from the storyline.
What if those secret bosses are like super meta?
Well, then I don't want to see them, because that was the worst aspect of the game.
And they keep going like, chimichangas, my brothers.
Chimichangas.
Deadpool.
Isn't that Deadpool?
Yeah.
So Acer, what have you been up to?
Thank you, Daniel. I played Seinfeld, the Telltale series.
Ooh.
It is what it is, and it's a joke. Here's the thing. It's a joke that knows not to play itself for too long. It's a good 5-minute joke. Don't make it a 20-minute joke. Don't make it a 30-minute joke. Doesn't work. Basic premise is you're Jerry, and there's a Seinfeld episode happening around you. You have the typical Telltale mechanics. But Boken, get this. Maybe all is not as it seems.
No.
Oh, yes.
What if there was a player?
Oh, no.
He's moving the characters.
It's not fourth wall breaking like that.
Whoa.
Oh my god.
Also, the models are such shit.
Well, give me
Just
some
like-
context. What the fuck is this? Like, it's clearly not a Telltale game.
No, it's
So-
it's a joke. I think it's a Unity game somebody made in like an afternoon.
They can probably get sued, right?
Wait.
Nah.
I thought this was a joke because you watched the show and you decided to say that it was a Telltale game.
No, it's a real game.
You played an actual game.
This a 5-minute game, and that person can actually get sued. You can't tell me differently. Like
How?
that,
So wait,
that guy is
it's
going
actually
down.
called. It's actually called Seinfeld, the Telltale series game, or what? Like that's what it's called.
There you go. The Seinfeld, the
What?
Telltale series. It's called.
What?
Like-
This is great.
This
I love
this
this kind of
person
shit.
can get sued by 2 different companies now.
It's on itch.io. What
It's
the
a free
fuck?
game.
So when
So
you
what?
said
That doesn't
the
matter.
models look like shit, I thought that was a joke saying that like
People dressed
that
like
the,
shit
that,
in the
that the
90s.
human beings looked ugly.
Oh
I
my
was like,
God.
damn, that's really mean. I was like, I mean, I know Kramer is not really a strapping young lad anymore, but
But the show keeps playing him up like he is like a super handsome guy.
and he's really not.
I think he has like a
be
masculine
fair.
aura to him.
He
He
does.
did the beach perfume. Don't you remember? And then they changed it to the ocean when they stole it from him.
I've just seen that episode.
That's a good one. Anyways, I recommend people
No,
check.
yeah, this looks like, oh my God, this looks like a Sims game.
It's
The graphics, I mean.
kinda. It's just like really poor posing, and the character modeling is really like the faces are kind of okay. Even though they only have the faces, the heads are completely wrong. Like their faces protrude so far out of their skulls.
But like, you can't tell me that this doesn't look like if you zoomed in on the characters in like Sims 1 or something.
Yeah, a bit. It's a bit more like bigger, more polygons, but yeah, it's like a similar sort of washed out, ugly, matted, somewhat aesthetic. But yeah, I highly recommend this game if you like Seinfeld. It's a fun 5-minute little jaunt. Oh wait, there are 2 different endings. I didn't know about that. Anyways, I hope the Seinfeld estate don't sue. And I hope Telltale's lingering, rotting corpse doesn't sue either. Although apparently they're doing better now than they were.
Yeah, I heard that they are making something,
The Wolf Among Us.
much to Boken's chagrin.
Yeah, why? Don't you like The Wolf Among Us, Bogan?
No, I liked the first episode of A Wolf Among Us, and then it turned to shit. We've already had this discussion.
You know,
we did.
I bet you're wrong.
What do you mean you bet? You don't even know. Because you haven't played
That's
it.
why I'm saying I bet. I don't know, but I bet.
You can't see it, but I'm shaking my head vigorously.
I think one of the issues with that game is that they have like, I think they have like three women in it that are like very prominent in the plot, but they all look pretty samey. But I don't quite remember.
So I remember Snow White, and then there was
A girl with like a bow on her neck or something.
like there was a girl in the very beginning that dies, and they look kind of similar-ish, 'cause, you know, short black hair. I don't think it's a problem though, because they don't look that similar. But whatever.
No, that's not really a problem.
But how do you know,
Any-
Boken? You don't even like it. How could you possibly know?
Yeah.
Anyways,
Have you ever made anything before, Boken? Have you ever made a video game?
have you ever
before?
made a Telltale game before? I don't understand the love people have for those games, but I suppose since they're not hurting me, I don't care.
I
It's
really
all
liked
nostalgia.
I don't know about that. I liked Walking Dead season 1. That was good.
Yeah, that's
That
the
I
first
finished.
good thing they did, you fucking nostalgic prick. That is exactly my point. People are saying, oh, maybe they are making Walking Dead season 1 again. They never did.
No. Well, I remember season 2 being very and season 3 was a huge dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, I think people
Oh, that's right. Kenny came back.
overreacted. I think people overreacted to how bad season 2 was. Season 2 was not like particularly good, but I didn't think it was as terrible as people made it out to be. Season 3 was fucking terrible. It was fucking dog shit. Whoa. Just aggressively horrible.
How so?
I mean, whatever, it's still not good, and it's still nowhere near as good as the first season. And I think, like, Telltale season, Walking Dead season 1, and then maybe Tales of Borderlands season 1. That's their claim to fame. That's all they ever did, and then people still talk about it and still keep buying these games. I guess at the end they didn't anymore, but, you know, they pumped out so many, and what is left?
Nobody bought them.
What
Because
the fuck
the
did they
problem was
actually
that, like,
make?
They made a bunch of stuff. They made like a Batman. two
Yeah,
Batman
but
games.
none of it
Galaxy,
stuck, is my
Minecraft.
point. None of it has had any cultural value, except for the first fucking season of Walking Dead.
Well, yeah, the first season of Walking Dead and Wolf Among Us. People did like Wolf Among Us, even if you didn't.
People did not like Wolf Among Us. People liked the first episode of Wolf Among Us because it was really good.
Okay, well, you keep saying that, but I
Who
bet
even
you're
brings
wrong.
up Wolf Among Us?
Well, they don't bring it up as much as Walking Dead. That's true. And anyways, we're getting sidetracked like we always do.
The
Gotta
most
bring this-
cultural impact that Telltale had is like making Telltale a name that is associated with this type of walking simulator shit.
Yeah. And then Ubisoft did it with those horrible Life is Strange games.
That's
Ugh.
Square, not Ubisoft.
Oh.
No, yeah, it wasn't Ubisoft. It was made by Don't Nod.
Who?
Don't Nod.
Ugh.
I believe that's the name of the company.
Hey,
I'm
game
pretty sure.
companies.
It's
Why
like a
don't you
really
get
They
better
also-
names?
They also made Vampire and
I heard that was pretty
Remember
decent.
Me.
Yeah, Remember Me. Ironically, a game no one remembers. Yeah, the name of the developer is Don't Nod. Dontnod.
They
Very
also
strange
did
name.
Captain
They're
Awesome.
French.
Or
Oh
Captain,
yeah, that game was terrible.
Captain Spirit.
Yeah, that game was terrible.
Yeah, they keep doing like this weird. What's the guy who made Boyhood? Linkletter. These sort of-
Linkletter?
yeah, these sort of artsy Linkletter games. I'm not here for it. Just let me fight a big monster. That's all I need from your game. Don't give me this subtext. Don't give me these characters and their feelings. I don't care.
You know, it's really funny because apparently Remember Me had pretty decent combat. Like, it was actually a pretty fun game to play. Yet, for some reason, the company just went full hog on, like, no, we need narrative-driven games. And it's like, that doesn't really seem to be y'all's strength.
Even though it's what you do exclusively. Anyways, enough of this Telltale crap. Seinfeld, the Telltale series, everyone get on that. I also read the Lord of the
Cool.
Rings trilogy. Well, I read it. Andy Serkis read it on Audible, and I listened to it. But we've all had this talk before, and we know it's really the same thing. Listening, reading, it's the same thing. We all know this.
It doesn't matter. Hey, you know, I don't think anyone would begrudge you for wanting Andy Serkis to tell you the story of Lord of the Rings. That's totally valid.
It's also just you do it while you're working out or when you're like, going to the shops, and you can listen to it while you're at work. You can do it whenever, and you don't need to sit down with some dusty old book in your lap like some sort of grandmother.
Or, I mean, you could download it to your tablet.
I don't have a tablet.
Okay, caveman.
Oh no. Anyways, what do you want to know about Lord of the Rings?
How does it compare to the movies? Are you now one of those like the books was better?
The books are better, but the movies are not bad. The movies are really good too. What I find amazing about the movies, just like looking, like they shuffle a lot of stuff around, and they make some changes, move dialogue from this place to this place, so it fits better into a movie. What I found amazing is that for all the changes they made, they still just told the same story. Right? They didn't cut any members of the Fellowship because, like, really, in the grand scheme of the narrative, you only need Gandalf, Frodo, and Aragorn. Everybody else in the Fellowship, you can cut them. Like, you can figure out a way to cut them because they're sort of incidental. You can change things around, but you need Gandalf, you need Frodo to carry the ring, and you need Aragorn to become the King of Gondor. That's all you need for the story. But they still. Like, they did Boromir and Legolas, and they did all of it. And it's really amazing how they managed that. Peter Jackson just created his own film industry to produce those movies. It's very cool.
Yeah. I mean, and you wouldn't want to miss them.
Wouldn't want to...
You wouldn't want to miss the rest of the Hobbits. Gimli, Legolas.
Yeah, it's they're integrated, like they just do the story in the book, but it's really the books are not cinematic at all, and the way they managed to integrate it into a movie is really interesting because the first book is just like, here are the characters and then we're following them. The second book, to the Two Towers, it opens on the story of Aragorn. It like opens with Boromir's death, and then it follows Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli all the way up to the battle of the Pelennid Fields, or whatever it's called. That battle in Return of the Kings. No, it follows them up until Saruman is trapped in Orthanc, and they get the Palantir, which is like close to the beginning of the Return of the King, the movie. And then it tells the story of Frodo and Sam, and it's like in its entirety. From the moment they were on the river, all the way up until Frodo was stabbed by the spider. And why did you have to tell the story this way? It's really cumbersome.
It is. Okay, so this is I've tried to read The Two Towers probably 5 times. I don't know if I've told this before, but I've tried to read it 5 times. And I always just get to the middle point where the story of Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli ends, and then I put the book down because I realize, oh my god, I'm gonna have to read about these stupid fucking hobbits for the entire rest of the second book, and I'm just not here for it. I just don't care enough. Like, their story is, I like Sam, I like Frodo, but I don't like them concentrated on an entire half of a fucking book. Okay, that's too much melodrama and people being useless. They're fine.
That's not how it is in the book. There's much less melodrama between the two in the books. Like, you remember in Return of the King when Gollum convinced Frodo to send Sam away? Like, he tricked him into thinking Sam ate the bread. That doesn't happen in the book. Like, they go together into Shelob's cave, and that sort of melodrama. It's not there in the books. It's more just about them meeting Faramir and talking about like, oh, Master Frodo, I want to see the Oliphants. Oh, and then they meet Gollum, and Andy Serkis does the voice, and it's glorious. It's really funny. But
it's you still have 2 parts of a story. You have when one half you have a bunch of really competent people who just do what needs to get done. And then you have a bunch of bumbling hobbits being stupid.
Well, they're not bumbling. They're out of their depths.
Breakfast?
Yeah, they are. And it's like, that story works for me when we're intercutting between the two.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for me when I have to read one half and then the other.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't like that it's formatted this way. But I will say, do you remember... Have you seen the extended cut of the Return of the King movie?
I have watched the extended cut of all 3 movies in one night. together with friends.
How
It was
about
one
you,
of the best
Daniel?
experiences I've ever had, honestly.
How
I
about
still
you,
remember that-
Daniel? Daniel must have left.
No, I'm here.
Have you watched the extended cut of The Return of the King?
I don't remember. I saw these movies when they first came out on DVD. So
Do you remember a scene when Aragorn is like going to fight Sauron? He like travels to Mordor at the end.
I barely remember these movies, dude. I'm
All right.
sorry.
Anyways,
Man.
there's a scene there in the
It's been
extended
like
cut.
15 fucking years.
Yeah. Okay. Stop talking
Dude.
then.
They're like the best trilogy ever made. I feel like you're not showing enough reverence for these movies.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. I don't have that much reverence for them.
You should rewatch them, honestly. Like they're genuinely a miracle.
I believe you. I remember liking them at the time. All I'm saying is like I saw them like 2 decades ago. It's like, give me a break.
Also, I don't think anybody involved in those movies has turned out to be like a predator or like a pedophile or anything. I think everybody had like a very good, because oftentimes like you look at those X-Men movies that Bryan Singer made and you're like, ew, no, that guy sucks.
I don't know. What about that Elijah Wood?
Is he an asshole?
I don't know. Is he?
No, I think he was
He has
preyed
the-
on when he was a kid. Actually, that's very insensitive of
the-
you, Daniel.
He has the face of an asshole.
No,
Makes me
no,
wanna
what?
punch
No,
him.
he has the face of like an angel.
He played a serial killer in Creep.
Also in Sin City.
That's true.
Anyways, when Aragorn goes to confront Sauron at the gates of Barad-dûr, he meets the mouth of Sauron. Do you remember this, Bogan?
No,
And
I
like,
don't.
you don't remember this?
No.
He like the mouth of Sauron writes out, and he's like, "Who do you think you are to come to the land of Mordor?" And he throws Frodo's mithril shirt at Gandalf's face, and he's like, "Yeah, we got him, Gandalf, and we made him suffer." Like stuff like that works much better in the book because when you look at it in the movie, you've already seen they don't have Frodo. And like Aragorn's whole idea with getting there is Sauron thinks Aragorn has the ring, and so Sauron will have to empty out Mordor to confront Aragorn. But when you the reader read about the mouth of Sauron having the mithril shirt, you go, "Oh shit, did Aragorn's bluff just blow up in his face?" Because the last time you saw Frodo and Sam, that was when they got separated in Shelob's cave. And then you get the story of how they escaped and how they don't have the ring. So there's stuff like that which they moved around for the it would have made more sense narratively if they would have maintained the original structure. But in terms of making a good movie, I get why you need to change things.
Yeah,
And it's
alright.
a good movie, and Daniel doesn't appreciate it because he's a nerd. He likes little anime movies about it's a guy and he's crying in the rain.
Hey man. Hey man. Don't you talk shit about my crying in the rain.
Does the book have that line of the orc saying, what is it? I guess meat is back on the menu, boys?
I think so.
Really?
I think so. It's a lot of stuff in the books where I was like, holy shit, I thought this was shit they made up for the movies. Like, you know how Gimli and Legolas, they're like competing against who kills more? Like, that's
Yeah.
in the book. That's in the book.
Yeah,
I
I remember.
was like, what the fuck is this?
I
thought
actually
they
like-
made it up.
No, I actually like the Gimli and the Gimli and Legolas story more in the books because there's a bunch more moments where they, travel the lands and talk about the dwarves and the elves and form
Yeah.
a friendship. And it's
Yeah.
good in the movie, but it's even better in the books.
Yeah, well, there's more attention. Like, Gimli will tell, like, these poems from the Dwarven world, and Legolas does the same from the Elven world, and you're like, we're not that different, you and I. We both have a deep appreciation of the land of Arda and all that. I just
Yeah.
happen to like the mountains, you like the forest. And then, like, Gimli goes into the Elven kingdom, and he makes Legolas promise that one day Legolas will come with him to, like, the Dwarven kingdom, and they do, and it's like, oh, I get it. There's like there's a purpose in these two being friends other than just funny comedy.
Yeah. Genuine appreciation between, two people who come from, racial backgrounds that don't see along.
I also like there's a really funny thing where they read these audiobooks. You can't go big with your performance in an audiobook because it just comes across like it's really jarring to listen to like a big, really into it performance. It just sounds wrong. So whenever Andy Serkis is doing these characters, it's much more mellow. It's more like down to earth. He does like go big for important moments, but it's like it's an audiobook performance, and it's such a good performance. And then when it gets to Gollum, he just goes full ham. It's just the exact performance he gave in the movies. It's so big, but it works so well because it's him, and it's so good. I recommend people check those out. Start with The Hobbit. Don't be a smartass who thinks, I'm gonna be the guy, I'm gonna read Lord of the Rings. Start with The Hobbit, because you have to get familiar with Tolkien's narrative style. Because this isn't... The movies make you think these are like stories about action, and they really aren't. These are like... He's just doing this big world-building adventure, and you need to understand that framework, and then Lord of the Rings, the books, they like snap. It makes sense. What have you been doing, Daniel? Watching one of your animes, no doubt.
No, not really, actually.
Oh, sorry about that.
Literally the only anime that I've seen recently is Star Wars Visions. That's it. And I only saw one episode, literally like a couple of minutes ago.
You guys should watch The Book of Boba Fett. It's a good show. I like it.
I will, actually, because my dad wants to watch it, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm along for the ride.
You too should watch it, Bogan.
I refuse.
Shock.
I will not watch the fucking spoiler I posted to you earlier. Actually made me so angry. I legitimately don't think I will even watch Mando season 3.
What if Mando season 3 turns out to be even better than Mando seasons 1 and 2?
What if Mando and Luke begin to hang out even more with his
Oh
CGI
my God,
face?
Luke
What if Mando and
Skywalker?
Luke start making out?
What if Han Solo shows up and Harrison Ford didn't bother shaving again?
Princess Leia is coming back?
Oh my God.
Okay, no, that would be horrible.
God.
Don't even say that. That's really bad. Anyways, I've been up to a bunch of stuff.
Wait, what if they did baby Kylo Ren?
Ew! No, shut up.
Like
shut up,
Baby
shut up,
Yoda,
shut
you
up,
have a
shut up.
little Adam Driver.
No, stop! I hate this. Shut up.
Fine. Whatever.
Yeah, I've been up to a bunch of stuff actually, but I'll only talk about some of it because it's too much. So one of the things I did recently was experience the story of Warcraft 3. I didn't play the game. I just watched the cutscenes. And you might be asking, why the fuck did I do that? It was because a friend of mine wanted me to do it, and he was like, I really want you to experience the story. Just watch the cutscenes. You don't have to play the game. The remake sucks anyways, so don't play the remake. I was like, okay, all right, fine.
Well, I really wanted you to experience the game with the story, but okay.
Well, in my defense, the game, you can't officially get the original version of the game anymore. And I'm not like super big into like real-time strategy games, so I wasn't sure how I would take to it anyways. But after I saw the cutscenes and I got invested, I was like, okay, I'm gonna find a way to play the original. Apparently there is a way to do so, and maybe I'll play it and I'll report back how I feel about the gameplay.
You should. It has easy mode, like easy, normal, hard difficulty modes. I think easy is pretty should be doable if
Okay,
you
'cause
don't know RTS.
I think the only RTS I've ever played in my life is Dungeon Keeper.
You didn't play like Bloons Tower Defense?
No.
Also, that's maybe not an RTS.
Have either of you played Dungeon Keeper?
I have.
No.
What do you think of that one?
Dude, I don't remember. That was
I fucking
20 fucking
loved
years
that
ago,
game.
man.
I mean, I played that like when I was like 10, but like I remember loving that game. That game was awesome.
I remember that too, but it's been too long. But for Warcraft 3, you know, it's not like it's all base building and shit because they introduced the heroes. There are a lot of maps where you just go through a story with a limited amount of units and then maybe you get some later, but you don't even have to build anything.
Okay. All right. Well, anyways, so I experienced the story just because my friend was like, oh, this is one of the best stories you'll ever see in an RTS. You know, it's one of the best in the genre. Just give it a shot. And I was like, okay. I had to give it a bunch of caveats because I could just feel watching the cutscenes. I'm like, yeah, this probably would have hit me harder, or I would feel very differently about these characters if I was like fighting alongside them or fighting against them. So I had to like kind of take that into account. But I actually did end up liking the story overall. I was like, you know what? This was pretty cool. I gotta say though, one thing I called out like right away was what's that fucker's name? Arius?
Arthas?
Arthas? Yeah, Arthas. I was like, this is the Lich King.
I mean,
Turns
we all know.
Turns out it's the fucking Lich King.
We all know the Lich King.
But I didn't know that beforehand. I didn't know anything about the Lich King. All I knew was that the Lich King was like the name of one of the expansions in World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
That's all I knew. But when I saw him and I started seeing like he was acting a little bit of an asshole, I immediately just was like, no, that's the Lich King.
Warcraft, Arthas, let me just get a good Google of this guy. They just show me him as the Lich King.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's not even a secret. I mean...
No, but I had no idea.
I guess it was
like
it was somewhat of a, not a secret, but a plot twist back then. But that's his whole story, right? And
yeah,
though I guess...
I really liked it. Go ahead.
There is, you know, the undead version of Arthas is on the cover art of Frozen's Throne. Like, that's literally just him.
That is true. Although, like, I didn't know that was him.
But that story begins in Reign of Chaos, which is the original version of Warcraft 3.
Yes. So, Reign of Chaos, a lot of it is dedicated to his character arc, which is him starting off as kind of like a prince, and he's just like, fight for honor, all that shit. And he slowly starts to lose grip on his sanity. But I thought what was really interesting about how his character arc went about was you could see that, like, you can make the argument like, oh, the sword was what made him go crazy. But I feel like a lot of the elements of his character that made him an asshole were already there. Like he wasn't totally there mentally even from the start. Like obviously he was more sane, but like he was even in the beginning. He was a questionable character, and he just got worse as the story went on.
Yeah, I mean he's impulsive. He doesn't deal with authority well, and I think even in the beginning he uses some methods that do not befit a paladin.
Yes,
that sort of stuff.
Yes, I thought that was really interesting. I liked seeing his character arc. I wasn't quite as invested in some of the other stuff that was going on in the story, to be honest. Not that any of it was like outwardly bad, but I just felt like his story arc was like the thing that interested me the most. Yeah. I thought Thrall was pretty cool, though. He wasn't a great character, but I was like, he kind of, what I liked about him, and particularly the orcs in general, is that they kind of like changed my perception of what orcs were supposed to be. Because like most fiction just presents them as just like mindless brutes that just want to like destroy everything. And here they're like, no, they act more like, you know, rational people. They have some like more aggressive tendencies compared to humans, but they're not just like brainless monsters that just like kill everything. They, you know, they're more civilized than that. And I found that pretty interesting as well.
Yeah. They have a tendency for bloodlust, which makes them, you know, a target for the demons.
Mm-hmm.
Warcraft in general deals a lot with corruption and people getting corrupted and turning evil, which to me has always been a problem because it's like, it's just boring when a character turns evil for no better reason, but someone did corruptive magic to them. And that's why I always liked...
Like Sylvanas.
Well, Sylvanas not really, because she just gets killed and then resurrected, and then she's angry. Like, this is the point. Sylvanas and Arthas, they have reasons for turning evil, and they always started out as flawed characters to begin with. I guess Sylvanas not as much. Sylvanas is just a specter. And that's why I always liked Arthas in particular, because it's a corruption storyline where there was actually a sort of temptation there, and that's why the corruption worked, instead of just some random good character turning evil because some ancient god did a corruption on them.
Yeah, it was a flawed character where like the corruption just exacerbated their flaws.
Yeah.
Rather than like you said, it's just rather than it being like a 180.
And this, you know, the Warcraft storyline has continued for decades at this point, and it has always been a problem with the fucking corruption. And they always find different ways to corrupt people.
So something that really bothered me, though, in the story that didn't really, as far as I saw at least, didn't really get any logical explanation was, so at first Sylvanas's motivation is to get revenge on Arthas, right? Like after she turns evil.
Yeah.
Or, you know, she gets
so you're on Frozen Throne now, where she's a banshee.
Yeah, I'm talking Frozen Throne right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so she even concocts this plan, and she tries to like shoot him with like a poison arrow or whatever. And like that seems to be her motivation at first. But then all of a sudden, she's just like, "Oh, I want to kill all the Dreadlords now," and that just kind of comes out of fucking nowhere. Like, what happened to just wanting to kill Arthas? Like, why all of a sudden now she's all about the Dreadlords? Like that it's, to me, that felt like I missed a scene or something. It felt like I missed something, or because like it just seemed like this shift in character motivation that didn't really have any build up.
I guess so. I mean, there's some dialogue that happens during gameplay. But to me, I think the problem with Sylvanas, or not the problem, but her motivation is just that she does no longer want to be shackled to anyone. And the Dreadlords are just trying to use her for their own ends. So she just...
Okay.
I mean, she takes one Dreadlord, right? And goes with him, like Varimathras. Yes. And then Oh, wait. It's been a while. But she teams up with Varimathras after beating him to kill the rest of them. I'm actually not sure why she does this. You're right.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, you know, because at first, all she talks about is how she's got a hate boner for Arthas. And then all of a sudden, she just completely shifts. And there's no explanation. It's just... all of a sudden, just a shift in character motivation, and there's no explanation for it. There's no build up to it. And again, to your point, I didn't play the game. I just watched cutscenes. So maybe there was something during gameplay that I missed. I don't know. But just watching the cutscenes, I was just like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, either they were in her way, or she wanted their armies, or something like that.
I don't know. But there was another guy, I liked his storyline as well. What the fuck was his name? He was like a really edgy elf or something. Was he an elf?
You mean Kalthus, Sunstrider?
Is that him?
Yeah,
So
the
like
Blood Elf.
So like
One of
he
the
had
coolest
like
characters.
he had a crush on this one chick, and she's like with his brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you talking
are
about
we talking
Kalthus who teams up with the Naga?
These fucking names! I swear to God, I don't remember now.
Okay.
Well, again, the point was that he had a thing for this chick, but that chick was with his brother. Anyways, I thought he was a cool character. He was very edgy. He was like, when you first see him, he's imprisoned, and he's released.
You mean Illidan? Jesus.
Yeah, okay, that's him, Illidan.
All right, yeah. Who has a thing for Tyrande? Who
Yes.
is with
Yes.
Malfurion?
Now we're talking
Okay,
about the same guy.
you
yeah.
said elf. You didn't say night elf, which confused me.
Okay, my bad.
The high elves are a different race.
Crazy names.
Oh, no, yeah, these
It's
fucking names.
Flimflangle, who is dealing with the Naga, who are the Blimblams of the Shubla Florist.
You know what the funniest part is, that Daniel is kind of stumbling his way through this storyline of like the centerpiece characters that Warcraft has been about for decades now. Like Sylvanas is still basically the main character of this fucking game to this
Okay,
day,
so-
and she's still mad at Arthas, even though Arthas is already fucking dead.
So that's something I wanted to bring up. I thought for the longest time that World of Warcraft was just its own thing, and that the original Warcraft games were also their own thing. Only to come to find out, oh no, World of Warcraft is a fucking sequel. That's insane.
It's a continuation,
No wonder people are so pissed. For the longest time, I was so confused. I was like, okay, I guess the story in Warcraft is bad, but like, why are people this upset? And now it makes sense to me. Now I'm like, oh, it is, because it isn't just that like World of Warcraft is a bad story in and of itself. It's that it's actively ruining these characters that people love from the previous Warcraft games.
Yeah, and Warcraft 3 has done so much to just like create everything that World of Warcraft has
Shit on.
gone on. Not shit on, but just try to continue ever since. Like the whole just the Alliance being dwarves and gnomes and humans, and the whole visual style, the Horde, orcs meeting Tauren and trolls. Like that happened in Warcraft 3. All of this shit happened in Warcraft 3. And we're still with Tyrande and Sylvanas, and I guess now Anduin, who is, I think, whatever, fucking son of some other asshole who was in Warcraft 3 or whatever. And Uther is back now. All this shit, man. And we basically right now in World of Warcraft, we're fighting the guy who created the Lich King.
But the point I'm trying to make, though, is like, it would have been one thing if World of Warcraft was just an isolated incident, right? Like if it was just its own thing, and if it was just bad on its own. But like, it's not. It's also dragging the rest of the franchise down with it, right? Like it's dragging Warcrafts 1, 2, and 3 down with it, and I think that's where a lot of the contempt from fans comes from.
Yeah.
And it just seems so ludicrous to me. Like, and it also, on top of that, it also makes it so that you can't have a proper Warcraft 4. I'm sure a lot of people would have loved just another Warcraft game that was just a regular RTS and that just continued the storyline proper. And instead, it's World of Warcraft. And like, if you don't like that type of game, too fucking bad.
That is actually true.
They could do a Warcraft 4 though, couldn't they?
They really can't in terms of story, because World of Warcraft is still going on and will always be going on. And so they could maybe make a Warcraft 4 that is set in some earlier time period that hasn't been covered buy Warcraft
Warcraft
yet.
0.
But you can't. It would be really difficult to write a story for Warcraft 4 that doesn't intercut with World of Warcraft.
Can't you make it too intercut? Do like an expansion and a Warcraft 4 at the same time, and in the World of Warcraft expansion, you just play as you're whatever, doing whatever in that world, and then you're suffering from the consequences of the things that whoever did whatever in Warcraft 4? No.
RTS games are not popular at all. And people
I
love
mean,
Warcraft by itself, but those are not the two target audiences, so you can't guarantee that people will see both.
I mean more just in the sign of you can do it. Is the problem just that it probably wouldn't make money? Or
well,
just,
yes,
is there
that,
no way
but
to
also
glue it together?
No, imagine having a storyline that you're trying to tell, and you're trying to do it in two vastly different games. That's just by itself super
difficult. Who do you
difficult.
play as in the Warcraft games?
As your own hero.
Oh, okay. So
you're playing the champion of Azeroth.
My thinking is no. I mean in the RTS Warcraft games. Is it the same deal?
No, in the RTS games you play through campaigns of the different races, and you usually have a hero character that you. Yeah, that is the
my
main
thinking
character.
is you just do a Warcraft 4 that's just like, here are these characters who do this, and this is like happening maybe in the background to whatever is happening in World of Warcraft, and then there's like a big cataclysm at the end of Warcraft 4, and that feeds over into the next expansion for Warcraft for World of Warcraft.
That makes Warcraft 4 a side game, though.
Sure.
And Warcraft 3 is too big and too important for that.
Oh.
Also, there has literally already been a cataclysm in World of Warcraft.
You can have more than one cataclysm.
We already have an expansion called Cataclysm.
You can
was
have
caused
it be called
by
second
Deathwing.
cataclysm.
Yeah.
No,
We're gonna need a different word, sorry.
You call it Cataclysm Final Night 3+1. Or some shit like that.
I think Boken, you had a point though with like, oh, maybe they could do a prequel. I think that's the only thing people can hope for at this point. But like, even then, I don't.
Which
I don't
would
think
still suck because people got used to, Tauren and trolls being around. And before Warcraft 3, there wasn't even night elves. There wasn't undeads. It was just humans versus orcs.
Yeah.
And we can't go back to that.
Yeah, maybe they can do a spin-off. I don't know.
Maybe they can do a new thing.
All I'm saying is I think making World of Warcraft a direct sequel to Warcraft 3 was a bad move.
I mean, was it? The game is massively successful. It's just problematic for people who like Warcraft 3.
I just mean in terms of its story.
Yeah.
Like, yes, obviously World of Warcraft is one of the most successful games of all time, clearly, but it's also inadvertently ruined the original Warcraft series, which, that's a fucking bummer.
See, yeah. I don't agree with this sentiment that just because you have a terrible sequel, that somehow ruins or damages the work that came before. Like we talked about the Matrix before we started recording.
You could still go. Obviously, you could still go back. Well, actually, no. You can't just go back and play Warcraft 3 because they made it really fucking difficult to play the original version. So
sure, but that's not on World of Warcraft.
No. But at the same time, like, there is something to be said about World of Warcraft being in the same canon as Warcraft 3 and, like, taking the story in these, like, horrible directions. Like, yes, you could ignore that and still go back and play Warcraft 3 and enjoy it, in isolation. But it still sucks to know that, like, that this other shit is canon.
I don't know. You don't have to connect them that much.
Does it make Warcraft 3 suddenly a bad game? Of course not. I'm just saying, I can understand where the fans are coming from when they're so upset.
Yeah, that's different. Like,
the problem is, World of Warcraft is also not a bad game. And in a way, it portrays the world of Warcraft. No, it's not a bad game.
You say that.
Yeah, what?
You say that.
It's a good MMO. I mean, it has a lot of problems, but it's still enjoyable if you...
A lot of people have been bitching about it for a long time.
Yeah, but,
People bitch about
I haven't
everything.
played it, so I can't
People
say
bitch
one
about-
way or the other.
fan base... Look, I know a lot. I have also seen the problems of World of Warcraft now. They've also done a lot to fix it lately. Like a lot. Because the
I have
game
seen
is
that. That is
basically
good.
about to be ruined by dwindling player numbers. But by itself...
Look at that. When people stop playing, suddenly they feel like fixing shit.
Yeah, it's almost like
What's
competition
the
from
wall that
another
gets
game is good.
Yeah.
But people have been bitching about Path of Exile, and that game is just so successful, and everyone keeps playing it. Fan bases just, they bitch. It's what they do.
Yeah, have you seen...
This is true.
Do you know what Pokemon is? It's this video game franchise that has a lot of people on Twitter whose entire life is about bitching to it, and somehow these damn tweets make their way into my feed, even though I've played 5 minutes of one Pokemon game ever, and then, in spite of all this bitching, I don't think I've ever seen a positive thing said about Pokemon. It releases a new game, and it's like the second best-selling game on Switch.
Yep.
I mean, I heard that the new one is actually pretty good.
I've also
Yeah.
heard that. I have to check it out.
After months of people, look at the visual style. Why can't Game Freak get on the level? They're just trying to save money. Look at the animations. It's so bad. Second best-selling game on the Switch.
I fucking love when people posted these comparison shots of the new Pokemon game and fucking Oblivion. Not even Skyrim, fucking Oblivion. That something about that just like tickles me.
Look, you just gotta accept that Twitter bubbles don't matter.
Oh yeah.
They don't represent shit. They don't
Nobody
represent the
cares
market.
what people on Twitter think. Their opinions are worthless.
Anyways, I want to talk about James Bond real quick.
Fine.
Well, you were going to say something, Boken?
I was just gonna say that this discussion has made me realize that we've really been with the same characters for almost 20
Past-
years now.
Yeah, like 2 decades.
Like, just thinking, Thrall is still around and is still part of the Horde. Jaina is still around. Uther is still around. You know, Cairn Bloodhoof died, but now his son took over the Tauren faction. It's like Star Wars, where the names are the most important stuff. Malfurion is still there. Illidan came back multiple times as a boss fight. It's never ending.
I thought you were going to say, I just realized after this talk that I need to get back to World of Warcraft.
I am on the verge of going back to World of Warcraft because the new
my-
patch is coming out soon.
The new pitch?
The new patch.
Patch, sorry.
But I haven't defeated the Savage raid in Final Fantasy yet, so I don't want 2 raids at the same time.
I was hoping we could get through this fucking discussion without bringing up 14. God damn it.
We already did.
You had to do it. I was like, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to do it.
Boken already did. When he said competition from another game.
He didn't say it directly though. He indirectly implied it. He could have he could have been talking about fucking New World. He could have been talking
he
could have been
Oh
referring
yeah,
to
what a
Lost
competition
Ark.
that was.
Isn't
Okay,
that
yeah,
dead
to be
already?
fair, New World was a trash fire.
That is basically dead, yeah. I mean, quote unquote, dead. I can't use the term dead because I come from fighting games. And fighting games are actually fucking dead compared to everything else.
Speaking of which, I purchased a fighting stick recently.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool story, bro.
Can I ask
Cool
why?
story, bro.
Can I not ask why?
Can he take my question of why back?
Can I ask you
because-
not to tell us?
Okay. Let's talk about James Bond instead.
No, tell us. I want to know now. I'm curious.
I don't know. I picked up Guilty Gear Strive. I picked up Melty Blood, and I was just like, playing this with a controller doesn't feel good for my hands. I wanna play with a fighting stick instead, and that's where the thought began and ended.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it.
You
I
wanna,
just thought like a fighting stick would be more fun to play with these games.
you want to know why Daniel picked up Strife, Asa?
Why?
Why do you think?
Anime
Why
girls?
do you think?
Fat ass anime girls?
Okay, this is not gonna work
Strife.
with the audio,
Fighting game.
but because
If you post a picture of fucking biking, I swear to God.
I was googling
No,
because they added
no, it
they added
wasn't
a
because of
character
biking.
called Biken to the game, and so Daniel was like, "Awooga,
no.
need to buy." No,
that's not
no
the reason.
Biken, no Biken.
I just
Get it?
because everyone's been saying Guilty Gear Strive is a fun game.
Yeah, it's,
That's why I picked it up.
I'm
It
looking
was
at
also on sale, the Lunar sale recently on Steam. It was on sale, and I thought, oh, why the fuck not?
But Daniel, I've googled this Guilty Gear biking lady. I'm just gonna turn off safe search, and I'm gonna see what happens. Okay?
Okay, but you have to buy her separately as DLC, which I have not done. So fuck you.
Okay. No porn. No porn. That's very strange of the internet.
Well, that's because the original images, the official images, are already porn.
Oh. Yes, he does have pretty big boobs.
I'm more of an ass man personally.
Hmm.
I'm all about that junk in the trunk.
Why? That's where poop comes from, you monster.
Don't shame me.
Ugh.
How dare you? Can
I
I
don't
talk
know.
about James Bond now?
Yes,
Yeah,
Come
you
on,
please
can
do.
talk about James Bond. We're done.
motherfuckers. So I've seen several James Bond movies.
Yes.
I've seen Dr. No, From Russia with Love, Goldfinger, Thunderball, You Only Live Twice, Never Say Never Again, which is technically non-canon, The Living Daylights, License to Kill, GoldenEye, and Casino Royale. That's 10 movies across like a couple of months.
Ay.
Yes. So I'm just going to go through them quickly. I don't want to like review every single one of them in detail because we'd be here all day.
Can
So
I
let's
can
start-
I make can I guess which ones are good and which ones are bad?
Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna imagine Dr. No is not good.
You are correct. It is not good. It has not aged well. The final stretch of that movie, I swear to fucking God, looks like it came out of the 1960s Star Trek.
Oof.
Looked real bad. Real bad. To be fair, Dr. No starts off okay, but not very James Bondish, which, to be fair, it's the first movie. They were still finding their footing. It feels more like a cop detective movie. It's about like James Bond, trying to figure out who Dr. No is, what's he planning, that kind of thing. And that part of the movie is fine. But then towards the end, it just goes to shit.
From Russia
So
with
that-
Love, I'm gonna say this one probably is good, or it has good elements.
Yes, it is.
Yes!
I found that From Russia with Love, not perfect, but one of the better Sean Connery movies. Surprisingly, not very cheesy,
Oh,
not very campy. It's a pretty straightforward movie. Felt more James Bondish. It felt there was more spy stuff going on with this one, and yeah, solid movie. I enjoyed it.
okay. Goldfinger. I'm gonna say people have a reverence for this one, but I've seen it. It is not a good movie.
I define Goldfinger like this. It is a not good movie in a technical sense, but I loved it because it was so entertaining. Like this is super campy and dumb and cheesy, and I really enjoyed it. It was just really entertaining to watch. Like the fight at the end between Sean Connery and Oddjob, I was fucking laughing my ass off because it looked so terrible. And it was hilarious because I was watching it with my dad, and my dad was saying that, like, wow, as a kid, watching this fight, it felt so tense, but looking at it now in high definition, where it's just there in full clarity, it just looks so cheap and bad.
This one ends. Goldfinger was the one where he shoots the window of a plane, and then Goldfinger very poorly flies out.
Yeah. He gets sucked out of the plane.
It's a terrible effect.
Oh my god, I loved it.
Okay.
I would, up to this point, I would say From Russia with Love is the best constructed film. Goldfinger is the most entertaining.
Okay. Thunderball.
It says 2 for 3.
Thunderball. I'm gonna say no. I have 3 for 3.
No.
Yeah, I said Goldfinger. People have reverence for it, but it's a bad movie.
Yeah.
So
I don't. Yeah.
I'm gonna say
Anyways.
Thunderball.
2.5 for 3.
I have 3 for 3. None of this. I'll say Thunderball is also trash.
I wouldn't go as far as to say it was trash.
3 for 4.
Mid. It was mid. I did not feel very strongly about it one way or the other, but we will come back to Thunderball in a little bit. You'll see.
Yes, we will. You Only Live Twice. Is this Connery?
Yes.
Okay, it's bad.
It's kind of in the same league as Goldfinger in that it's bad but very entertaining.
Okay.
3 for
This
5.
is the one. What is it?
3 for 5.
Okay. This is the one. It's so fucking dumb. It's so bad. This is the one where they turn Sean Connery Japanese.
Oh, that's right. They have
There's
an
this-
elaborate sequence where it's like, oh, we're gonna give you the best disguise possible and nobody will be able to tell who you are. And it's just like, oh yeah, that fucking gigantic Scottish guy walking in that horribly racist makeup.
Yeah, that... I was watching that scene howling. I was like, is this real? And then at some point in the movie, they don't even bother with the makeup anymore. They just say, fuck it, forget about it.
Don't they give him a pathetic Japanese wig?
Yeah, they do.
It's just his hair matted down or something. Ugh.
One thing that was really cool though about this movie was there was a lot of martial arts. There was samurai and ninjas, completely ridiculous, over the top nonsense. So I really enjoyed that. It was just dumb fun. So I'd still say Goldfinger was more entertaining by virtue of Goldfinger himself. Goldfinger is a really fun character.
Did you like how the actor who played him didn't speak a lick of English, so they just had to feed him the lines?
I actually didn't know that, but now that makes a lot of sense.
That's why he, his pronunciations, they're just all over the place because the dude didn't know what he was saying.
That makes a lot of sense. That's really funny.
But they used to make movies like this.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, so comparing Goldfinger to You Only Live Twice, again, Goldfinger has the edge because of Goldfinger himself. You Only Live Twice feels more aimless by comparison. I felt like Goldfinger as a villain kind of anchored that movie more. While You Only Live Twice, the main villain only kind of pops up towards the end. So, and that was kind of cool because you find out, oh, this is the guy that's been running Spectre the entire time. And that was kind of neat.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Goldfinger, still more entertaining overall, but You Only Live Twice, really, really questionable shit in it, sexist and racist shit that you really just have to go oof, oh shit. But if you're able to kind of look past that, there's a lot of dumb, fun stuff in it.
Never Say Never Again. Is this the one where they did Thunderball again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Much better.
I'm going to say it's good. Was that right?
It's good. It is good.
Yes.
It kind of, I wouldn't go as far as say it falls apart towards the end, but it kind of ends on a whimper.
Mm?
But aside from that, very entertaining movie. Good stuff. The main not heroine, the main villainess. What was her name? Fabula, I think. She's awesome. I really liked her. And the main villain was also a really charismatic, kind of like insane villain. I really liked him too.
You know which one of my Bond movies is like conceptually my favorite one? Is Tomorrow Never Dies. That movie
Okay.
is not very well made, but I love this idea that the bad guy James Bond has to get, he's a newspaper man. And he's just like orchestrating all of these crazy events, and he'll have the headlines before everyone else. It's so crazy.
That's the second Brosnan film, right?
Yes. It's like,
Okay.
it's not even bad. It's just not as good as GoldenEye.
Yeah. Okay. I haven't seen that one since it came out in theaters, so I don't remember anything about it.
He's on a
But,
motorcycle.
I mean, I'm working my way through all of these James Bond movies, so I will probably get to that movie at some point, and we could talk about it another time.
All right. The Living Daylights. This is a good one.
This is a good one. This is a really good one, actually.
Oh, what happened?
We're talking about Living Daylights.
Yeah, whatever.
This is the first one with Timothy Dalton.
The best
And-
Bond.
I don't know if I'd go as far as to say he's the best, but he's the most underappreciated for sure. He's a great Bond, and I really appreciated his very subdued interpretation of Bond, because like when you're watching Brosnan, when you're watching Connery, they kind of treat the character more like as a joke almost. Like it's just a bunch of one-liners, and that's fun. I'm not hating on that, but I did appreciate that Brosnan. I mean not Brosnan. Dalton brought a more kind of like grounded approach to the character, while still throwing in the dumb one-liners here and there. But like, he felt more like a person that was also had this like he was like carrying the weight of like all the shit that he's done with him.
Yeah. I like him because he's the only one of the Bond actors where you look at him and you're like, yeah, he could probably kill me. You just see it in his angry, beady little dark eyes. Why didn't you have any Roger Moore ones here?
I just haven't gotten to them yet. I'm watching. See, like at first, I watched GoldenEye, and then I saw the two Dalton movies, and I saw Casino Royale.
Oh, you're not doing
And then-
it in order.
I didn't do it in order, but then I decided, well, let me go back and do it in order.
Yeah, okay.
And then I was just working my way up.
I think Roger Moore has one or two good ones.
But then what about Her Majesty's Secret Service?
That's George Lazenby.
Yeah, but why didn't you watch that if you went in
I
order?
haven't gotten to it yet.
Isn't that really early?
Yeah.
No.
Well, yeah, it's after Connery, but they brought Connery back.
Yeah, the last one I watched was You Only Live Twice. Secret Service comes out literally after that one. So
Okay.
like that's the next one to watch.
Yeah.
Aside from the unofficial non-canon version of Casino Royale, which came out in 1967, which was a comedy spoof
Oh, the
on
Jimmy
James
Bond?
with what is his name? Peter Sellers, I
No,
believe.
isn't it David Nibbins? David Niven or something? I don't know. Oh, no, wait. Maybe Peter Sellers is in that.
I'm pretty sure he is.
It could be. Did you know that North by Northwest or North by Northeast, whichever the one it's called, that's like also a spoof on James Bond before the movies took off.
Okay, so I just looked it up. Yes, Peter Sellers was in the 67 Casino Royale.
All right.
It also had Woody Allen
Ugh.
and Orson Welles.
Ooh.
David Niven was James Bond.
Yeah. I knew it.
And Ursula Andress was Vesper Lind. Interesting.
All right. License to Kill. This is a mid one.
Yeah, License to Kill. It kind of suffers from kind of just aping a lot of stuff that was going on at the time. It felt like an episode of Miami Vice rather than a Bond movie, which is both like a good thing and a bad thing. It kind of gives it a unique flavor as a Bond film.
Are we talking suit jackets with the sleeves rolled up?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, Bond never does that. I don't think.
Oh, thank God. GoldenEye.
Yeah, there were parts of this movie that I really liked. I did like that the movie was kind of like a revenge story. It was Bond pissed off and him just going rogue. I thought that was really cool. And I liked some of the fight scenes in it. There's some good stuff in this movie, but it just feels like a cheaper film compared to The Living Daylights. So it felt a little flat, but it was still enjoyable. It was still a solid movie.
Yeah. GoldenEye, that's also a really good one.
Yeah. So the only thing that doesn't really hold up about this movie are the effects. It came out in like 95, I think. And some of the visual effects are just terrible. They don't hold up at all. Like just really bad 90s CG effects. But aside from that, I think this movie has the absolute best evil Bond girl. Like she is just
Femke
amazing.
Jensen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she is just absolutely incredible. Like she gets this.
You mean how she has sex with men and like kills them by crushing them with her thighs?
Yes.
Is that a thing?
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Oh man, I haven't seen
She
this
gets
movie
this,
in so
like-
long.
Yeah, she gets this like weird sort of sexual euphoria from killing men. It's fucking awesome. She has this like great fight with James Bond with Pierce Brosnan, and like they're in a sauna, and it's weird because it's like they're fighting each other, but they're also kind of into it. It's like so weird, but it's so interesting. Really good movie. Really enjoyed it. Same director as Casino Royale, actually.
Yeah. He also did The Mask of Zorro, which is another really good movie from this era.
That is a good movie. Yeah, that is a good movie.
He also
I
did
didn't know
Green
that.
Lantern with Ryan Reynolds.
Not a good movie from what I've heard.
No.
Although I heard that movie turning out the way it did wasn't his fault, but I don't know how true that is.
I'm inclined to believe that.
I mean, he's made a bunch of good movies, so it's easy to believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, GoldenEye, aside from some visual effects, it still holds up. Sean Bean is in it. Sean Bean is awesome.
Alec Trevelyan, yeah.
The rivalry between him and Pierce Brosnan in the movie was really cool. I really enjoyed the final confrontation at the end. There's also one character.
What did you say?
Go ahead.
No, I said for England, James. No.
Oh, for King and Country, James? No, for me.
I think that satellite has since collapsed in real life, where they filmed that.
Interesting.
I think it like one of the cables snapped and it imploded into itself.
That's fucked.
Yep. They got it on video though, which is pretty crazy.
I'm glad that didn't happen while they were filming.
Yeah.
And finally, I saw Casino Royale, which is the best Bond movie I've seen so far.
It's the best one by far.
It's
No.
Well, I haven't seen Skyfall yet, Boken. Calm down.
I am.
Skyfall
chill.
is mid compared to Casino Royale.
Fuck you.
I can't wait to watch it now and see how I feel.
You'll agree with me.
We'll see.
I'm not even. Fuck this. I'm not even against Casino Royale, which is also amazing.
I loved Casino Royale. It's my favorite Bond movie right now. The action was great. Daniel Craig was great. I love the character moments with him. Vesper Lind, one of my favorite Bond girls. Just everything about this movie just hits hard, goes hard. Loved it. Great movie.
I love that part where like your guy there, he's fired all the bullets at Bond, and Bond is still like he missed him, and they're like they're standing on some construction crane or something
On a
and
crane.
and he throws the gun at Bond, and he just grabs it and throws it right back
in his face.
It's so good.
I love the scene during that same sequence where like Bond is chasing him, and this guy's like this amazing like parkour artist in real life, and he's doing all these crazy stunts. He like grabs something and he like jumps through a hole, like this tiny slit in the wall or something. It's this fucking amazing stunt. And then Bond just bursts through the drywall. Love it.
Yeah, he's just like a beast. He's just like some sort of crazy tractor or something. And
He's
like
a
when
tank.
when he's dragging him through the embassy, again, he's just dragging him. There's no like, oh, this is another human being that's able to fight me and like resist me manhandling him. No. He's just dragging him through the place.
I loved that dominance. It was great.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
I also like Mads Mikkelsen in that movie and how he was whipping James's balls.
that scene was fantastic. Apparently, during the filming of that scene, there was like plexiglass under the chair, and at one point, Mads Mikkelsen hit it so many times he cracked it. And then everyone freaked out, and they were like, "Protect Daniel Craig's balls! We must protect his family jewels."
Like, the thing is also, you don't need a plexiglass. There's no point where we're like seeing up there, seeing what's going on. You could have him cut it, have Bond sit down, and then you put in the other seat, which has like a metal casing closing it, and he just flings it into a metal. Like, why plexiglass?
I don't know.
I guess metal would be cold on on Craig's balls. That's fair.
You don't want them to shrivel up.
No, that would be good though, because it'd be harder to hit them.
I don't know, man. Maybe it would have made like a sound that would have been hard to edit in post. I don't know. But yeah, Casino Royale, great movie, loved it. I'm gonna try and watch some more James Bond movies that we could talk about next time. I'll watch the Lazenby one. I'll rewatch the original 1967 Casino Royale, and maybe some Roger Moore movies. And eventually I will get to Quantum of Solace and Skyfall, and because I'm very curious to see why everyone hates Quantum of Solace. Very curious.
They hate it because it isn't Casino Royale.
No, they hate it because it's boring as fuck.
It's also boring, but it's like, it's not bad.
If something is boring, it's bad.
No.
9 times out of 10.
It's like, it's it's like a finely constructed movie. It's like, it does everything right. It's missing that sort of edge that makes it interesting. Like, you're just sort of like going through the motions with it. But it's not like a bad movie.
Like, they made that movie with an incomplete script, though.
Yeah, and Daniel Craig was one of the writers on it.
Yeah, Daniel Craig, he said, like, I'm not a writer, but here I am writing dialogue.
I think that movie is about on par with Skyfall.
I think Boken just popped a blood vessel.
It's okay, he didn't mean that. It's fine.
No, I didn't mean that. Skyfall is a bit better.
All right, I do have some other topics, but I'm going to leave them for next time.
Are you going to watch the Mission Impossible movies next?
What? Why would I do that?
Oh, they're pretty good, except
because
for the
they're awesome?
one.
Yeah, except for the second one.
I mean, I have no current intention of doing so.
They're good, man.
They're really good.
I want to get, look, there's something about these spy action movies that makes them really entertaining to me in general. Because like even the bad recent Bonds, they always have these cool set pieces and just memorable scenes. And they keep changing things up in a way where I always look forward to a new one.
I mean, I think Daniel Craig carries all those movies. Like, he was so good in Casino Royale. Like, I'm sure, like, even if Quantum of Solace is otherwise a piece of shit, I feel like I'm probably still going to enjoy it just because I like him as James Bond that much.
I don't know. Did you like him in the recent one?
I did.
Okay. He's a good actor. Just James Bond in that movie is kind of dull.
He's gonna be in the
think.
next. I'm so excited for Ryan Johnson's next Benoit Blanc movie.
Knives Out 2?
Yeah, baby.
I need to see Knives Out 1.
You do. You really do.
I heard it was good.
Also, I love Ana de Armas, or whatever her name is, who's in Knives Out. And she was like that temporary Bond girl in the new Bond movie. I loved her in that movie. She's my favorite Bond girl, and she's only in it for like 6 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
She's like a total rookie, but she's so endearing to watch. You're just like,
Yeah. And then she's just gone from the movie.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand. And then they go back to the boring Bond girl.
Yeah, Leah Seydoux. That's Fragile from Death Stranding, man. That's Kojima's waifu.
For Laifu. Anyways, I'm done with my topics. I think it's time for a break, and then we will come back talking about nostalgia holding back the industry. So we will be right back, folks. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's time for the topic. This is Boken's topic. Is nostalgia holding back the industry? So, Boken.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it my topic?
Yes, it's your topic. Every fucking time it's your topic, you're like, oh, is it really my topic?
Yeah, because I just throw shit at the wall, and then you decide to run with it. And then I'm sitting here and I suddenly have the responsibility of introducing a topic.
This may actually be
I don't
my
like
topic now that I think about it.
Whose topic is it? It's not mine.
Asa, you start talking about it.
I don't.
What the fuck?
I don't. Okay, so the thing is,
You motherfuckers.
while this may very well
topic
be,
is this?
while this may be my topic, I don't think I agree with the
Possibly.
sentiment in the first place. So, is it?
I don't know. Is it? Whoever's topic this is, Boken or Acer?
Someone better step up. Man, fine,
know
whatever.
first.
I fucking hate nostalgia anyway. I'm not a very nostalgic person.
You cold, heartless person, you.
Yeah, I mean, I have
You're the-
memories that I cherish, but in general, I try to make it a point to actually go back to shit that I once enjoyed and
I thought you
check
were
it
gonna
out
say,
again.
I have memories and just like stop talking.
Do you cherish the memory of first seeing Luke Skywalker appear in The Mandalorian?
Yes, that is one of my favorite memories. Think about it every night. The fucking creepy ass CGI face, man.
Yeah, it's a bit better in the new season.
It's so bad.
No, it's a bit better.
But I mean, we talked about Warcraft earlier. Talk about fucking nostalgia. I mean, that is a...
So, is that something you grew up with?
Yeah. The Warcraft 3 is in my top 10 games of all time. It's probably in my top 5. Because it's an amazing game on every level. Music, art style, graphics, gameplay, storytelling.
So on that topic then, would you say that World of Warcraft is shackled by the nostalgia of Warcraft 3?
Obviously. I mean, I just said it's been 20 years since Warcraft 3 came out, and we're still with these characters. And Sylvanas is a joke at this point. Like, she is so fucking stupid, and she still hasn't gotten over Arthur's killing her. Even though we killed Arthur's in 2009 or something. It's crazy.
She still hasn't gotten over being killed.
Well, you can come back. It's fine.
Oh.
But now she's like, oh, if I die again, then my soul is not going to be free. Oh, I'm shackled to the afterlife, which is the Shadowlands, which is where we're currently at. So now I'm going to ally myself with a dude called the fucking jailer. And then
I've heard a lot of complaints about the jailer.
Yeah, and then she has a change of hearts when she realizes that the jailer, who uses domination magic, starts dominating people and putting them in chains. And she's like, oh, well, I'm not for putting people in chains. I care about my freedom very much. And then she turns around, and now I'm supposed to think she's a good guy again? I don't know. She fell into a coma. It's not clear what happened.
Is that nostalgia, though, or is that just the problems of you have long-running characters with this rotating roster of writers behind them, and it just, the longer you keep a continuity like this going, the dumber it gets?
I guess it's not really nostalgia in that case. It's just people, they're very hesitant to introduce new characters.
I mean, I think it's nostalgia to an extent.
They keep bringing back, for example, Uther. Uther has been who is the mentor character of Arthur's in Warcraft 3, and then eventually, has to turn away when Arthur goes crazy. And Uther is also fucking tormented by what happened with Arthur's, even 20 fucking years later, and you meet him again in the afterlife, and it's like the warming up of the storyline again and again, and it's so tired to go through the same plot points just because they think people care because it's a well-known character, And
yeah, that's what I was saying, though. Like, I think to some extent it is nostalgia because they're still trying to appeal to everyone's memories of these characters that they loved back in Warcraft 3. To this fucking day, they're still doing that.
Yeah, it's the same with Star Wars, for sure. It's the same with...
How dare you? How dare you say that about Luke Skywalker? Were you talking about Luke Skywalker? How dare you say that about Luke Skywalker?
I mean, that's kind of why I like a lot of the Star Wars stuff outside of the movies and stuff that's not attached to the movies, because they're able to create new characters and create their own unique stories that are only tangentially connected to the movies, or even barely connected at all. Like, Knights of the Old Republic takes place like 1,000 years beforehand. So it has like almost no connection to the movies, and it could just be its own thing.
You know what I love?
Except it still has to be lightsabers and Jedi and Sith and the Empire.
Well, I mean, it is Star Wars. It's got to have that iconography, but at the very least, it's at least doing its own thing with the Star Wars material.
But that's what was so cool about Mandalorian when it started out, is, there's no Jedi. There are no fucking lightsabers. It's just people trying to make a living in this very interesting universe.
Bogan, do you want to hear something about the Mandalorian in Boba Fett? You remember how he got that cool spear in season 2, that Beskar spear?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he had like an actual like melee weapon on him.
Yeah.
He's melted that spear down now. So now his only melee weapon is the dark lightsaber, the dark saber. So now he has a dark saber too. He has a lightsaber.
Cool.
Delicious.
Mando.
I love
how far have you fallen?
I love when I'm really enjoying the latest batch of Marvel like shows and movies, because they have dug to the bottom of the barrel Like they're gonna do the Fantastic Four and X-Men, and that's gonna keep them alive for a little while more. But they're doing like the Eternals and Shang-Chi and these characters that no one ever gave a shit about. Like even Iron Man had like a fan base prior to the movies. Who the fuck cares about Shang-Chi? It's like now they're doing Moon Knight with Poe Dameron, and I'm like, okay, that's fun, but that's not like you're bringing out the C-listers. Like you don't have the materials anymore because all of your actors are now old and retired.
That movie has such a terrible name, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Just fucking gag me.
What's wrong with it?
The Legend of the Ten Rings? That sounds like it's the subtitle of a Sonic game.
No, the Ten Rings is the terrorist organization that kidnapped Iron Man.
Are you serious? Because you could be saying that as a joke,
no,
and I could believe you because I don't know shit.
The Mandarin has 10 magical rings that are like space technology. One summons a laser and one summons a tornado or something like that. I haven't watched Shang-Chi. But anyway, back on topic. I think, I don't know about nostalgia holding the industry back though, because I think, I don't know if the industry is necessarily like being held back by nostalgia as much as just, things are pretty big right now. And when you go into like the indie scene, that's chock full of like remakes and like, oh, this is like my attempt to make a Zelda game. I love Zelda. But it's also a bunch of new stuff coming up. Did you play Knight's Drive?
But not so much in, the big gaming industry. And the indie scene also has that problem for sure. I mean, you have so many survival games or, people have needing to go to emulate old games with a backwards as 8-bit style.
I mean, you were just talking about Everhood, which is a huge aping of Undertale.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that qualifies as nostalgia because I assume the game dev didn't grow up on Undertale.
But I also don't think that's necessarily the industry being held back. Just because people make like a survival game that's a popular genre.
Lest you forget, Undertale came out in 2015.
6 years, yeah.
So, I mean, the developer could have very well grown up playing Undertale. I don't know how old the developer is, but like, still, Undertale is old enough that I could say you could be nostalgic for it.
What I think we need is for one of us to make an argument about exactly why this could be, and then for someone else to try to refute that argument.
Okay, so let me make an argument.
All right.
And I'm not saying I 100% agree with this or whatever. It's just for the sake of argument.
Okay.
I think we all agree that remakes and sort of like brand recognition and also people just wanting to see what they already know has taken the upper hand in the creative industry. Like, it's gotten worse, for sure. Given that, for example, in the 80s, a lot of blockbusters came out that were new concepts then that, the industry now lives on. Ghostbusters, Jurassic Park, the whole fucking comic industry, which happened before that, sure, but, those characters got created at some point, and we're still mooching off them.
Yeah. And to be fair, even stuff that were remakes were like so far removed from the original that they might as well be their own thing. Kind of like John Carpenter's The Thing. Like, that's technically a remake of another movie, but like those two movies are like so far apart from each other.
Yeah, sure. And then in the games industry also, we had those golden ages during the PS2, where a lot of franchises got created that are still going on. Whatever, Silent Hill. I don't have to name them all. I would say the industry is held back, both in terms of just people asking and developers making new entries in the same franchises over and over. And also, if you think about it in terms of just think about how much creative energy is being bound to things that we already know. You know, entire studios just get bought up to make the same fucking Star Wars game or the next Star Wars game. And
Or like the
so
next
many
Final
people.
Fantasy 14 expansion that
No.
I'm gonna have to listen to you talk about.
Or the next Assassin's Creed.
Hey, you brought it up. I didn't bring it up. Okay, Broken technically did, but shut up. We're trying to get through this podcast without talking about FF14. You shut your mouth.
The next Assassin's Creed, the next Call of Duty, the next Battlefield, the next fucking whatever, Overwatch 2, the next World of Warcraft expansion. People get bound to that. Resources get bound to that. And all those people could basically be working on anything else.
Didn't they recently create a studio just to make new Avatar stuff or something?
Yeah, an entire studio just
that
to
makes
pump
me-
out more Avatar content.
That makes me want to fucking shoot myself.
Same.
Leave it alone. The original Avatar
but
was
see,
great.
Here's the thing. I'd like to make one distinction. That's not nostalgia. That's just brand recognition. Like, nobody on planet Earth is nostalgic about James Cameron's Avatar. No one.
That's true. I think.
And same with I don't think Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed, I don't think these are maintained because of nostalgia. I think it's just people enjoy these games and they are interested in seeing what comes more. But that's not nostalgia. Nostalgia would be more like so if you
Well, I
take
think
something like
Ghostbusters, for example, is nostalgia.
I mean, nostalgia is to reflect upon something wistfully.
yeah, sure, but it's also another thing is, yeah, they keep making Ghostbuster movies, but there were remakes and reboots before, and it's not a case of they've necessarily taken over as much as there are just more movies being remade because there are more movies being made, and they leverage brand recognition in marketing. But if you go outside of like big blockbuster movies into more artist creative driven spaces, it's a lot more healthy.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that there isn't an original thought going around right now. Of course there is. But a large portion of the industry, and especially those with a lot of resources and money, are bound to a lot of franchises that are just feel so self-referential. And I think that's gotten a lot worse. And also just the remake culture in general, where I'm just sitting here and wondering, okay, when is that fucking Legacy of Kain remake coming? I know it's coming. It will come eventually because it's a name that people recognize.
I don't think it's a name people recognize. I think it's a name we recognize.
Not anymore.
I think
I
it
don't
is.
think anybody's recognized Legacy of Kain in the past
I think there will
15
be a
years.
fucking game called Raziel or something. Or a game called...
Don't shut up.
Or a game called Soul Reaver.
No, it's just called like Kane.
And then they make a spin-off Netflix series called Raziel. Or shit like that. I think that's totally happening.
Don't eat. The more you talk about this, the angrier I get.
Yeah. And I will agree that it's kind of difficult to differentiate between nostalgia and just brand recognition. But I still think that a lot of what we're currently seeing and what people also talk about is nostalgia driven. Or just wanting to see, having been thrown into this realm of Disney and Marvel movies and just not caring about anything else anymore, apparently. You know, I mean, what is Disney doing? They're fucking remaking every old movie they know. It's Cruella, the fucking... The Seven Dwarfs are getting their own movie.
Well,
I think it's a Snow
Cruella's
White
not really
remake.
Cruella's not a remake, is it? I don't think so.
No, but it's... it's we
It's a
all
thing
know
you
the
know.
Dalmatians movies, and
Right.
and that's why we're making a new Cruella movie that references a bunch of stupid shit from those movies. And maybe nostalgia is not the problem itself. I'm not sure how many people of my age are nostalgic for the fucking 101 Dalmatians. But the fact of the matter is that movie came out, it's shit, and it was hugely successful.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sucks.
You know, here's a more optimistic way of looking at things, though. And I'm gonna drop some bombs now that people may disagree with. The Marvel movies are way fucking better than whatever they replaced. Right? If you look at like the pre-MCU moviescape, we were not in a good place. Like we weren't getting just masterpieces after masterpieces. The movie industry has been in terrible dire straits throughout all of its existence, and then there are these little blips of, oh, good things are happening. But like, what's the biggest movies of the early 2000s? The fucking Rush Hour trilogy. That's
You mean what about Lord of the Rings?
Okay, sure. You have one trilogy. You have The Lord of the Rings, but then you have
Matrix.
You have Rush Hour. Yeah, one good movie, and that's in the 90s. Technically, my point is, I don't think the Marvel movies replaced something that was better, because I think those, like, The Lord of the Rings, I don't even want to grant that to the 2000s. That's more a New Line and Peter Jackson's thing. That's not the movie industry. The dude had to, like, create his own movie industry within the movie industry to get that done. And also,
Are you saying that the 90s didn't have good movies?
no, I'm saying I don't think the 90s had, like, a better... I'm saying the output of, like, Marvel movies, I don't think it has replaced something better. I think the movies... Like, there are good movies in the 90s, but there's also a ton of shit in the 90s. And the quantity of, like, the balance between what is... Like, Marvel movies, you can watch a Marvel movie, they're... Like, you can... There's a couple of jokes you'll like, and the characters are generally likable, and they're, like... They function as movies. Most movies from the 90s will not pass that smell test. Most of them are terrible. Even the ones which were hailed as good then, most of them have aged terribly.
I don't think that's true.
It is absolutely true. Like, look at the James Bond movies Daniel was talking about earlier from the 60s. It's like, imagine if that's still what they were making. Iron Man 1 is better than all of those Sean Connery movies.
But isn't the point, though, especially about movies, that we didn't have this franchise-driven... I mean, there have always been a lot of franchises, obviously. But the blockbuster structure in the 80s and 90s was not just, oh, when is the next fucking Marvel multiverse movie coming out? But instead, we had, huge directors like, whatever... what the fuck is his name? I don't know. Roland Emmerich, whatever. Steven Spielberg.
Fuck that guy.
They made big movies, but it was always about a different IP. It's not like they always made the next movie in franchise X, which is now basically the case because all these fucking Marvel and Disney movies all need to be connected, apparently. And they're all very samey in terms of structure and tone and, characters. So, sure, there have been a lot of bad blockbusters. There have also been a lot of great movies in the 90s. But at least it didn't feel like I was just listening to people talk about the same shit over and over. I assume. I mean, back then we didn't have internet. So, whatever.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the 90s gave us Kevin Smith, so I'm going to have to disagree.
Who are you disagreeing with?
That's for you to decide.
Kevin Smith comes across as a real sort of, oh, it's a new Marvel movie, I gotta see it. It's a new Batman movie. I cried when it happened, when the Joker came.
Yeah, that's how he is nowadays. Old school Kevin Smith was not quite so shilly.
What happened to him? All of his friends got richer and more successful than he, and he was like, oh, okay, I'll go corporate.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really. I don't want to hate on current day Kevin Smith. Dude's just doing what he likes, which is fine. But I have no real interest in it. I liked the indie Kevin Smith that made weird movies about real people. Not the current day Kevin Smith that just like, jerks his dick off to anything Marvel shits out.
Mm. But is the industry being held back by this? Like, again, you go to the indie scene. I don't expect quality from gigantic corporations with 50,000 people involved in consulting and like in these councils that organize these things. A committee cannot make anything good. Which is why stuff like Lord of the Rings, stuff like The Matrix, the first one, these are led by, like, this is a Peter Jackson vehicle. This is the Wachowskis. It's not...
But aren't most Marvel movies made by committee? Or
yeah. I'm saying, even if you, like... I wasn't saying those movies are necessarily masterpieces or better. I'm saying, when people just shit on the MCU, remember that we didn't have... It wasn't the Golden Age and then the MCU came. It was a long, long time of absolute slog, trash being manufactured, and then on top of that, they had the MCU. It's just like shit like, oh, it's the Valentine's Day movie with Gerard Butler and some actress, Anne Hathaway is in this, and oh, who's that? It's Clive Owen as well. It's like crap like that. This unimaginative just slop.
So, I think a lot of people tend to forget that, like, yeah, most decades for film were shit. Most of the stuff that came out were bad, and the only reason why we look back fondly on the 80s and stuff is because you only remember the good stuff. You remember Terminator. You remember Predator. You remember Back to the Future. You remember Ghostbusters. You remember all the Alien. You remember all the good stuff. Yeah. And you forget about the glut of garbage in between all the really good stuff.
But but that is the point though, right? Is the stuff we're getting now is just rehashes of the good shit we had 20, 30 years ago. It's not like an Alien equivalent is coming out in this decade that is equally like as...
Annihilation was pretty good.
Yeah, but that's not... There was one movie that was okay. And
sure,
that
Alien
didn't...
was also just one movie. And then you had Aliens.
They made... Yeah, but then it turned into a whole franchise that was mostly shit, and we still need to be shackled to it to this day.
Yeah, sure, but you also have the new stuff. It's not just you have Aliens and nobody else makes movies in that realm. You have a bunch of new stuff that are sort of tangentially related to Alien, like maybe Annihilation isn't the best example.
Yeah, that movie. I mean, I liked it, but it didn't have that much of a cultural impact. But no. Look, I'm not saying that there aren't new movies or new IPs coming out. It just feels to me like it's been less and less, and that most people stopped caring about new shit.
I feel like TV shows in the last few years, though, have gotten significantly better, though.
They have. I agree.
Like The Sopranos in particular, that kind of kick-started, like, what if TV shows were as meaningful as film? And that's not to say...
What if TV shows weren't trash? What if they were good?
Exactly, right?
What if you
and that's not to
try?
say that there were no good TV shows before The Sopranos, but The Sopranos was like the first show to really... to have like a more film-like approach to how it crafted its narratives and its stories and its cinematography and all that stuff. Yeah. And after that we started getting shows like The Shield, Breaking
Lost.
Bad, Boardwalk Empire,
24,
Mad Men, Deadwood,
CSI. My example's maybe not as good as Daniel's.
True Detective. We started getting good shit.
I also
And-
think there's a question though with this, which is a lot of people, for whatever reason, they don't care that they're just watching another Spider-Man movie. They don't care about cinematography. They just want to watch something that they're comfortable with. A lot of people don't actually want to see new ideas. They just want to play another Assassin's Creed. And I actually don't think that is... Like, I'm okay with this section of the industry catering to these people. And I don't need to play those games. And they don't need to play my games. And they can have their part of the industry. And then this other part of the industry makes stuff that I may enjoy. Like, I don't
feel
think...
the same.
Yeah, I don't think that just because there is a market for regurgitated ideas, I don't think that comes at the expense of me being able to enjoy the stuff I enjoy.
But wouldn't it be better if there are more games that you enjoy? Like, let's just make it really simple.
Sure, but at what cost? Are you saying more games that I enjoy, but fewer, like with the resources that are being spent into those games that those other people enjoy?
Yeah?
Okay, that would be better for me, but not them.
Boken's attitude is fuck them. Only I matter.
Well, but I'm not saying fuck them necessarily. I'm saying what if those people would also enjoy the next big thing?
Yeah, but
That
what if
isn't
we would
something
also
they already
enjoy-
know.
What if we would also enjoy the remakes and the reboots and sequels?
Yeah,
I
like,
mean,
you could-
I've lived
you
through
could turn
10
that
years of
argument around
remakes
on us.
now, and I don't.
It's
I
your
just
turn.
don't.
It's our turn, damn it.
I've gone through remake culture already, and I'm tired of it. Because it's not like...
You don't have to engage with it.
But I like games, and I like games and movies that have a huge budget.
Yeah,
But
sure.
when you have like a Lord of the Rings or something that's just, or like a Matrix, when there's fucking money behind it and you can feel it, and it's also in service of just telling a really cool and interesting and new story to me, but it's also fucking bombastic with great actors and great effects. That's
the Pirates
something
of
I
the
actually
Caribbean
like.
movies.
Well, Boken,
Pirates
why
of the
don't you just
Caribbean,
play
yeah.
12 minutes?
That has big name actors.
It's got Willem Dafoe.
That's always my issue when people bring up the indie scene when you talk about creativity. I mean, yeah, of course the indie scene is there and it's great, but indie games feel like indie games. They can't replace huge blockbuster games.
Sure, you're not always going to want to be in the mood to play something that plays like an indie game. Sometimes
Yeah,
you
and
want
that
to
goes
play
on for like 4 hours and then it's over because the budget ran out.
And it's over, and it was about depression all along.
I was going to say that too. It's like, oh no, it was about depression all along.
Sure. Look, I love... There's a great scene in Pirates of the Caribbean 2. I think it's number 2. It's number 2, where Cutler Beckett and Will Turner are having a conversation about the compass that Jack has. And they're just in Cutler Beckett's office having this talk. And then they start walking while they're talking, and they go out to the balcony. And the camera follows them, and in the background you can see, I believe, 2 or 3 fully masted, fully crewed ships on the ocean. You see platoons of soldiers doing military exercises. You see a gigantic clock being raised, and you just... The budget that went into this shot that didn't need to be there. I can appreciate that. I can appreciate these highly choreographed, really well constructed movies when they come.
Yeah.
I thought Tenet was really great because of that too. But that has never been it's never been that those movies were the norm. Those movies have always been the exception, and they're still the exception, and we still get them from time to time.
I mean, occasionally you do get a Dennis Levelou, whatever the fuck his name is.
Levelou,
yes.
yes.
that makes like these high budget movies that are also very meaningful and actually tell like really compelling, interesting, artful stories.
But even he had to go for Blade Runner and Dune to really get the budgets.
Yeah, sure, but I think that's also a case of, and I don't want to. I like his movies. He doesn't make people pleasers.
No,
The Lord of the Rings, that is for a general audience and people who want something more. Dune is not. Enemy is not. Arrival is not. These are not movies for a mainstream audience.
No.
Christopher Nolan is probably, well, maybe Nolan or Tarantino are probably the best ones that I can get a crowd, so just give me the money and I'll make whatever the hell I want to make, and they'll come see it.
Yeah, pretty much.
So long as Quentin gets to film some feet, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Those feel like
actually,
the last reputable directors that actually have sort of a very, unique vision to what they want to make.
Aren't you forgetting someone?
He's talking about Neil Breen.
Really? I'm surprised. Did you talk about Neil Breen?
The most reputable filmmaker of our time.
Oh my god. I mean, there are other creative directors, of course, but not people who work in that higher echelon of movie making.
What about Hideo Kojima? Like, Death Stranding was not a people pleaser in the slightest, but it was like this huge, big budget fucking thing. Yeah, like, I don't even know what to call it. It was just a thing that existed.
But Kojima was also bound to the Metal Gear franchise for how many years? 12?
Yeah, but that is okay. That is purely Kojima's fault. The dude had stepped away and then he went back in. Like, I have one more in me. And he kept doing it. He was like, no, I gotta make Peace Walker. I gotta make The Phantom Pain. I got this one more in me. He had every opportunity to step away. Like, he was a VP at Konami. He could have written his own budgets. Like, that's a Kojima problem, that he didn't branch out sooner.
Yeah,
sure.
But when he did, he made something completely off the wall, which I mean, regardless of how one may personally feel about Death Stranding, I respect the hell out of it because it's a fucking game about walking around and delivering shit to people. And it's like this fucking big budget, immaculately like rendered thing. And like that's cool.
Yeah. And it has Guillermo del Toro's face for some reason.
Holding a baby in a jar. Like, I mean, I think that's what Boken is talking about. Maybe not Death Stranding literally specifically, but I think Boken wants more stuff like that, right? Like a big budget game that is also like this weird, different thing that is, trying to be some sort of artistic statement, is trying to have something of substance, and it's not just a retread of something that we've seen before. It's not just another Assassin's Creed game. It's not another Ubisoft fucking open world trash that's just filling in the world with like icons and shit.
Yeah, I mean, totally. But what I do not want is something like a Ghost of Tsushima, which is basically, it is a new IP, but in a,
Yeah, but that's like another Ubisoft game, basically.
But from Sony. It's just the formula we already know, but we have created a bunch of, a new world for it. That's not enough. And ultimately what I wanted to talk about on this topic is
if you in fact were the one who wrote it down, there's some contention.
I think it was me.
Okay.
And I don't know where nostalgia ends and where just brand recognition starts. I think those go hand in hand. But, all those resources that get bound into projects to give people what they already know, to cater to people's comfort zones, that could be used a lot more on really creative endeavors.
Yeah. Think of how many games Ocarina of Times Nintendo made until they finally made a different Zelda game?
Yeah.
Yeah, Twilight Princess was basically let's do Ocarina of Time, but bigger.
I mean, talk about fucking nostalgia, man. But at the end of the
we
day, I
Wait
always
a minute. How did Nintendo get away from this conversation for so long? Like only at the tail end do we remember.
because even I look forward to Nintendo games. I look forward to Zelda and Mario. Like those, they always come along with really cool gameplay ideas.
Yeah, at the very least, Nintendo not only brings these games a sense of polish that most other studios just can't even touch, but like there's also unique ideas. There's even Twilight Princess. I was ragging on it a little bit before. Even that still has new ideas in it that like that still make it a fun game to play.
Sure, but they're also the company of 50 million Pokemon games. How many goddamn Mario Tennises? No, yeah,
that's
okay.
Game Freak.
Nintendo owns a third of Game Freak. They are a Nintendo company.
Only a third, not the whole thing.
All right, how many Mario parties? How many Mario Karts? How many Mario Tennises? Mario at the bloody Olympics again with Sonic this time. Mario kickboxing.
Mario at the bloody Olympics.
Luigi's Mansion.
Luigi at the bloody mansion.
Paper Mario.
No,
New Mario
not
Bros.
not
U.
Paper Mario. Not Paper Mario.
The franchise that people keep buying because they always think, oh, this is going to be the next 1,000-year door.
There are only 2 Paper Marios.
Why don't they make another good one?
Because they're dumb.
Interesting.
That's such a dumb question. Why don't they make another good one? Just make a good game.
Okay,
Because they're fucking dumb.
why
just
don't
fucking
they
try.
They know what the fans want. Why don't they give it to them?
Because they don't care what the fans want.
Isn't the problem that 1,000-Year Door was way edgier than Nintendo allowed? And that's why they can't remake that?
It was edgier than normal. But it isn't even just that. Like, mechanically speaking, that game has never been replicated. Like, Super Paper Mario was this garbage platformer. Then there was Paper Jam and Sticker Star, and they started stripping away the RPG elements more and more. They started to change the combat. It's not the same combat anymore. It's just it's not even fucking Paper Mario anymore at this point. It's just a different thing that they're calling Paper Mario now. I don't get it.
But, while we're on this topic, I mean, think about how we are thinking about Paper Mario now. It's like the best case scenario we can get is to remake the one good game. And every fucking Paper Mario game is basically judged on how close it comes to the one game that everybody likes and that they played back when they were younger.
I don't even want them to remake Paper Mario. Honestly, all I want for them is to repackage the first 2 games in high def, and that's it. Don't do anything else. Don't touch it. Just make it readily available for people in an official capacity.
If I know Daniel as well as I think I know him, he's asking Nintendo to put in some lady knight with a big ass in the game too.
But
That is like the most not Mario thing possible.
That's kind of the issue, though, with how we just function as, I don't know, as human beings. I mean, we can't really imagine the next big creative game because it hasn't come out yet. So all we want is the games we already love. And we experience that.
You always have those, like when Minecraft came, everybody was like, "Ooh, why isn't there a crafting system in this?" And then you have those mouth breathers on Twitter like, why can't you break the trees in the new God of War? This is stupid. And you have a.
Oh, God.
Imagine if they made this game and they put it in an open world. Imagine they had the combat from Batman and the open world from Assassin's Creed. Imagine how good that would be. Like with no like, hey, maybe every idea in the sun put together doesn't make a good game, jackass.
You know, I remember I had a nephew over once, and I was showing him some RPG. I don't even remember what RPG it was. I was just showing him just a regular RPG, and he unironically asked, "Oh, can I like break the tree and it turned into cubes? And can I?" And I was like, "No, this is not Minecraft." Just and it wasn't a joke. He wasn't being facetious. It was a dead ass legit question in a game that, like, at a glance you wouldn't think to ask something like that because it's so obviously not about that.
What is wrong with your cousin?
Nephew.
I
I don't know. Anyways, I think this topic has gotten out of our hands yet again.
I don't think so. I think we actually
gang.
kind of stayed on topic for once.
I think we did for the most part, but I think I got a little off the rails a bit towards the end.
Yeah,
but
I mean, you started talking about Kevin Smith.
Hey, man, that's called foreshadowing.
Not for a while.
We haven't
Not
even
for a
voted
while.
on your Kevin Smith stuff, and I think you're gonna forget it and replace it with something else.
I will not forget it.
All right.
Do we have any final comments on this topic?
Take the good stuff when you get it, and expect that most of this stuff is going to be crap anyways.
No, but
like
anyways.
Like they put out 1,000 Star Wars things every year, and 2 of them are actually really good, and that's okay.
Just ignore the bad and only enjoy the good.
You don't, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that first episode of Star Wars Visions, and that was really good. I enjoyed that.
I just wish it wasn't Star Wars. I wish it was unnamed sci-fi action world.
Yeah, but then it wouldn't make any money.
Yeah.
Assumably. And then they couldn't keep making it.
Hey, man.
This sucks. They're
I
bringing
mean,
back
so
the Fresh
far, it's
Prince
only-
of Bel-Air as a drama series.
Oh, I heard about that. That sounds like such a terrible idea.
It does. The
Why
Fresh
would
Prince
they
of
do
Bel-Air as a drama series is coming out.
Yeah, why not just make it a drama series? Why have any connection?
Because
to
then
Bel-Air?
nobody cares. I only care because I'm mad at the idea. But if it was just some, sort of black drama series, I wouldn't watch it. That's the
That sounded
The
very
problem.
spoken.
no.
Did you guys hear about that? Did you hear about that horrible inner city Arthur show that some studio? I think Fox bought it prior to being bought out by Disney. Have you heard about this?
No.
It was so it's the retelling of Arthur and the Knights of Arthur. It's called Art. It's not called Arthur. It's called Art, and it follows.
That's terrible.
It follows like a teenage boy whose name is Arthur, and he's like a graffiti artist. And I just I read this pitch a few years back,
What?
and I was like, what the fuck do you think you have? Why don't you just make a new thing? Like, why are you even pretending as if this isn't somehow related to King Arthur? And it's nice.
That sounds awful.
It's such a tortured pitch.
It sounds so terrible.
Ugh.
Isn't that
Anyways.
kind of what theaters do, though, sometimes? When you have like a really old play and you just kind of modernize it but keep the same storyline and try to apply it to our modern world?
You make Alexander Hamilton rap.
Maybe not as gross, but yeah.
Was that play
All right.
good,
No idea.
No idea.
Daniel?
I'm the wrong person to ask.
You live in America. You should know everything about Alexander Hamilton.
No, not necessarily.
Oh. I never thought
That's
of
like
it that
that's
way.
like saying because Boken lives in Germany, he should know everything about Wiener Schnitzel.
He does know everything about
I
Wiener
know
Schnitzel.
everything about Wiener Schnitzel.
Well, aren't you vegetarian?
Know thine enemy.
You think I grew up, like I came on this planet and was a vegetarian?
I don't know. I don't know how early it started.
Not before my 20s.
Okay. The point is, just because you are from a place, that doesn't mean you know everything contained in that place.
Well, then are you really from that place? And on that note...
Yes. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
That's
No,
the episode.
we have to shill our next stuff.
Do we?
Yeah, we always
You
do
you
that.
go ahead, Asa. What's
I'm
your
doing
next
the
stuff?
Sekiro,
What is it? Go ahead.
The Sekiro commentary. I have a first draft ready, and you guys... I was doing fact checks on the script, and I was hijacked away, shanghaied, to do this podcast with you once again. Hopefully gonna have that out before Elden Ring launches.
Hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Elden Ring,
I saw-
that's a new
I saw-
property.
I saw that you did
It
a
is.
video on the Bloodborne PSX demake.
Nah, I just streamed it.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out. I've been interested in that game. It looks neat.
Alright. Maybe jump ahead like 10 minutes. There was a lot of that stream in the beginning where I was just like configuring
Fumbling?
everything. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Boken, you doing anything?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. I'm still working on some stuff. I'm still deciding which video I'm going to release first. There was one part of a video that I'm making that I asked someone else to help me. Not help me, but like I asked them to do a part. And when I got their part back, I'm like considering like how to edit it. So that's kind of where I'm at with that video. I have another video that if I decide, I could probably get that one done sooner. So I'm still debating, but that's kind of where I'm at. I've got 2 videos in the chamber, ready to be shot out,
Bang, bang.
blasted out onto the YouTubes. And with that, that's it. Episode's over. Hopefully we'll be back with some, with a spoiler cast on Le Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, yeah. Damn it, I can't
Oh,
keep
yeah.
reading that crap. Because I also have to watch a bunch of video game movies now. Ugh.
No, there's only one
Only
movie.
one.
Oh, okay.
There's one movie and there's 6 volumes of the graphic novel. That's it.
That doesn't sound like that much. I'll do it the
It's
day
really
before.
not.
Do it the day before.
Yeah.
Whatever floats your boat. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.